Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various win for the Parc de Paris in the Parisian Tour 9-hole Cup here in Golf Clash the game. Before we take a closer look at all the content, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that are looking to improve your game, scan the QR code here on the screen or you go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy, link in the description down below, and there you can find all our premium guides for Checkpoint Challenge, Tour Play and Tournament Play. Last but not least, the golfclashtommy.com, your free website to get all types of content that you can imagine. So make sure to check it out. You have the link in the description and down below. Info box on the right hand side for the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1, here we are going to take advantage of the tailwind. If we do have a tailwind, has to be said. That is that we are going to bounce on the first fairway over into the rough to roll out on the second fairway over that massive big bunker. Adjust max plus 10. And then we are going to center the ball on it perfect. What you need to have in mind though is that you don't have to play with a P5 ball here. You can play with other power balls. However though, using a power 5 ball is going to make it easier, as you don't have to push up or use any overpower, which otherwise you will have to do with a lower powered ball. 375 yards is what we're looking for, and then that takes us into either wedge range or it takes us into short iron. Now, you can see me playing on a wedge here, but you can also see that the info box on the right is suggesting a thorn, which is a short iron club. And the thorn is the club that I would like us to focus, because playing a wedge here is generally going to be harder because it's going to require a lot of adjustment and it's going to require us to use some type of in-between type of spins. So that leaves us to go back to the drive. Try to pitch the drive a little bit shorter so you can allow yourself to either go for a dunk or you go for a backdoor shot, which is that you're using all the backspin on the thorn, get the ball past the pin to then roll back into the hole. Now, we still get it to work with a wedge, and if you end up there with a wedge, it's EB School plus 20 with the power ball that you have equipped. Hole number 2, if we do have a headwind, we're going to play with our sniper. That's the same if we do have a crosswind. In tailwind, we're going to play with a long iron. That is either the Grizzly or the Goliath. 3 backspin, 1.5 bar of right spin. We are making sure that we do have the Grizzly packed as well if we're playing with a sniper here. This to ensure that we do get to the min line in the easiest possible way. Adjust 20% elevation. Now the adjustment would differ massively depending on what type of wind angle you have, but the elevation is going to be somewhere around 0 to 40% elevation depending on how you design your shot. But the true elevation of this hole here is 20%. Perfect ball, bounce on the fairway up onto the green, and we roll to drop nicely for an hole-in-one. Hole number 3, from the second tee, if we're not having a nice tailwind, then we shall look into what type of big topper we do have. Now, the big topper is only to be used if you do not have the Thor's hammer in level 6 or better, or the Apocalypse in level 6 or better. So it's only if you do have lower level clubs than that, which, I mean, from the second tee, Pro and Expert Division, there will be loads of people that do not have those type of clubs. Big topper, all the top spin and a little bit of left spin, adjust max plus 10. And we are aiming at the very high end of the fairway. The reason for that is that we do want and need to get as much distance out of this drive as possible. Perfect ball it is. And we are getting this ball to roll down into the edge of the shadow, which is perfect because from here we will be able to reach. If using a ball that do not have power 5, that may be a problem to reach in this particular wind. So make sure to play with a power 5 ball. The more wind resistance you have, the easier it's going to be as well. Now, what I'm looking for is to have this ball to end up into the funnel, meaning that I want the ball to go past the pin on the left side, get a little bit further up as well, because the funnel is there on the left hand side. Minus 5% elevation, and then whatever, you know, if you use mid numbers or you use max numbers, is somewhat all about how you dial this shot in. I'm using a little bit of overpower because I am a little bit light on my aim point. I want to be a little bit higher up in general, so I'm using the overpower to push the ball further up onto the green. Even with great balls, this will have a good chance to drop because, again, we're playing into a very nice funnel. Hole number 4 here, we are going to play with our sniper. We're using the shadow and the rough as our references, having the bullseye just by the shadow meets the fairway and at the top of it, and then we have the blue ring to the left by the rough line. All the side spin together with some top spin. Here, if you have the possibility to use more than 3 bars of right spin, please do so, because what that's going to do is that it will allow you to remove some of the curl that you're otherwise going to have to use. And you can see here that we're using a little bit more than half a ball of right curl, and once again with some more right spin, that right curl is going to be either less or just non-existent. Perfect ball comes onto the green, and we are rolling very close for an hole-in-one. Needed a click of extra curl, but using curl as a default on a par 3 is going to be impossible to make consistent. Take your game to the next level with our ultimate tournament text guide for the Parisian Tour 9-hole Cup Expert and Master Division. Play free to play, or play with paid balls, or a mix, and get yourself easily to the final round. And there, whilst you are in the final round, you can fight for the top spot as well. We are the only place where you can find premium guides for all game modes in the game. Checkpoint Challenge, Tour Play guides, and then tournament guides. So make sure to scan the QR code here on the screen, or you use the link patreon.com/golfclashnomi that you can find in the description down below. For hole number 5, we are going to use our rock. If we do have rock level 8 or better. If we don't, then we shall be going with the Apocalypse instead, or the extra mile, to give ourselves the top spin. 4.5 bar top spin, 2 right spin, adjust max plus 10. Intention here now is to bounce on the fairway before the rough and roll up to a distance where we can play with a short iron towards the hole. You can see we bounce, and this is a fairway that has always been consistently difficult to have the same drive distance all the time. But if you can do that, then half of the drop has already been won. Now, second shot, we are going to try to play into the funnel. And playing into the funnel, you're going to have to bounce on the first pad and then attack the pin. If you do not feel confident by doing so, you can bounce directly on the green and attack the pin. That's obviously going to be a bit less of a drop rate, because obviously playing into a funnel, you can see there, you see me wiggling left and right, and you can see how sticky that spot is, meaning that you can, in many cases, actually hit a great ball here and still get that one to drop. 10% elevation, and it's not going to be much adjustment here, as we are around mid club, sometimes even around the min club. But the important part, though, is that you are adjusting properly and giving yourself a chance to drop this shot. Because this is a shot that loads of your opponents will drop, because it's not requiring much. I mean, it's always requires skill to drop a shot, but this one is less skill requiring, because we do have that massive funnel. So, hole number 6, for those of you that are playing from the second tee, you do not have the luxury as for the players that do play from the third tee when you do have a tailwind. You can't really reach to the green because you will not have the same wind push. Now, you can see I'm playing in a headwind, and in a headwind and a crosswind, then it's a layup all day and every day. But from the second tee, even in tailwind, this is going to be a layup. Max plus 20, and I'm using a little bit of left curl as well. This to prevent myself from doing two things. Number one is to go into the rough on the right. Number two is to flirt with the bunker. You can see here that we are bouncing over the bunker, and with a perfect ball, we would be going center over that bunker. This is a tough drive. This is not an easy one by any means, but make sure to give yourself plenty of room from the bunker. Now, second shot, you can see here I'm using a Cataclysm, but it's not really needed. If you have the Sniper level 8 or better, that's the club to use. And the reason for that is the ball guideline, because now with the Cat level 4 especially becomes like an absolute massive guess. And this is not gonna go in many times at all. There are rough bumps that you can play, but there are also glitches there that can occur, and that's going to be a problem. So if you're looking to go a bit more aggressive, you can do so, but in the end, that might cost you the eagle when you're pushing too hard for an albatross. No elevation on the second shot. It's all about the speed here, how we are entering the green. So if we come in with too much speed, we're going to miss high and left. If we come in with no speed at all or very bad speed, we're going to miss short and right, like that. But again, hole number 6 is a very difficult par 5. Depending on what type of balls and club that you have available to play with here on the drive, you can play in different ways. If we do have a tailwind, I would recommend that we go and blast it over the water and the rough and try to get to the green in one. If we do have a crosswind, you can decide if you want to use your big boy club and ball to bounce over the water and get yourself past the trees on the left hand side. But if we do have lower level clubs or we do have a headwind, then we are going to have to lay up regardless what type of equipment we do have available. Mid plus 10 for the drive here, as we're not playing from max line. I'm using a quarterback, this to allow myself for the 100 in accuracy, which will help me a lot if I do hit great balls. Now, safely down the fairway, looking to be around 250 yards. Second shot, it is the Grizzly. Here it's either the Grizzly or it's going to be a sniper. The Grizzly is going to be played from close to max line, where a sniper is going to be, I would say, more or less at min line always. There is a funnel that is behind the pin here, and that is something that you will possibly see others trying to catch, which is not wrong at all. But if you do not prefer doing that, you can go what I'm doing within the video, where it's just go straight at the pin, which obviously it's simpler, but we don't really have a funnel to play into. 10% elevation, and with a Grizzly close to max, it's gonna be a max number most of the time. And the ball comes in and we're missing just left. Need a little bit more adjustment to drop that one in the hole. For hole number 8, I do recommend that we do play with a Kingmaker for the best possible chance for a drop. Not so much, let's rephrase, not maybe a Kingmaker, but a ball with a wind 3 or better. Using 2 backspin and 1.3 left spin, looking to have the top of the white ring by the shadow, with the right side of the yellow ring to be by the rough line. 10% elevation, and we are going to make the adjustment once we find the pull angle we want. And we are, in this case, adjusting mid numbers, center the ball, and hit perfect. And what we are going to do is that we're going to bounce on the fairway, on the fringe, up towards the pin, dropping dead center for the hole in one. Many different ways to get this ball to drop on this particular hole, but a standard double bounce up towards the green is usually the way to play. On the drive here on hole number 9, here in any sort of wind, we are going to lay up on the fairway on the right. This is unfortunately a scenario where even if you do have a tailwind, you will not have wind push enough to get yourself over the water without getting stuck behind the trees. And that's going to be just purely a save for an eagle. And that's why we're trying to be as conservative as possible here with our drive. Adjust max plus 10. We are using left curl to push the ball into the left. You can see that I'm using a power 3 ball such as the Titan, but I do have in the info box a Berserker ball. And the reason for that I wanted to use a power 5 ball here is because if you do have a headwind here, and even with a crosswind, we are going to have to push really hard with a lot of overpower on the approach if we're going to make it out from the rough with a power 3 ball. So you can see that I'm using half a ball of right curl. I'm using all the topspin on the cat level 4, which is like 5.5, 6 topspin-ish. And we roll out on the fairway. This is what we want. Like, so this is not a bad outcome for us, but we could have made it much simpler for us. We could have used a power 5 ball. We could then allow us to maybe go with a circle drop overpower just as just as the overpower needed and stuff. So try to simplify it for yourself, use a power 5 ball, give yourself room, and end up with an eagle on this very boring par 5. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various win for the Parisian Tour 9-hole cup here in Golf Clash the game. Make sure to scan the QR code here on the screen or use the link patreon.com/golfclashtommy for the best guides on the market. Checkpoint challenge guides, tour play guides, and tournament guides. We have something for everyone. You can also find loads of more free content about the game, all from golden shot to tournament, tour play, you know, checkpoint challenge, whatever, on our website golfclashtommy.com. That's the only place that are continuously updating every single day with new updated content, so you can get as much as you can for free. There is a link to that as well in the description down below, and I do truly recommend that you bookmark it to always stay on top of the latest information in Golf Clash. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you the best of luck in your Golf Clash game.